what's this here then? This is a 2002 Honda CBR1100xx Super Blackbird. So I read a lot of good stuff about these, so I thought, you know what, I need to score me one of these. So I bought one about 18 months ago. No, a little less than that, but so I bought one about 18 months ago, and I have to say I quite like it. It's a pretty good bike. So a potted history, you know, available in the United States from about 97 to 03 or 02, maybe 03. They got a facelift in 99, and the early ones are carbureted, and the later ones like this one are fuel injected. I believe there's no difference in the carburation of fuel injected. Some guys say there's a bit more torque on the carbureted ones, low end torque. You know, so but I don't know. This one's fuel injected. So anyway, the guy, I think I paid $4,800, I think for it, and it done like 20,000 miles, and it's a 9 out of 10. It's in pretty nice condition. A couple little marks here and there. I can see one of them. Oh, right there. I need to clean off, and it is dirty. Actually, it's a dirty bird, which is obviously the best kind, right? So what do we got? We got an 1100cc fuel injected, liquid cooled inline 4. Very, very smooth engine. It's got a lot of counterbalance shafts in it, and so it is staggeringly smooth to ride. We've got 18-inch wheels back and front, chain drive, you know, and then it's got this Honda linked brake system. So you'll see, I'll go on the other side, but you'll basically see they've got this, and the brake system works something like this: that if it dives a certain amount, somehow it kicks on the rear brake as well, the front activates one of the pistons. You've got some sort of anti-dive mechanism there. And it's funny, there's a bit of noise on the internet, like, oh, this is no good and it feels funny and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, they just feel like brakes to me, the front brakes and the back brakes. And it's got decent brakes. It's got a nice set of Nissan 6-pot calipers. And I don't know why I get this discoloration on the discs. Don't know why they're on the rotors. But anyway, so... yeah, so that's a bit of an oddball thing. It's called the LBS linked braking system, and I don't know whether it's good or bad or indifferent or otherwise. Like I said, I haven't really made any different made any odds to me. I'll tell you what this does have that bikes don't have these days. This has a centre stand, so that's really good for you know, for maintenance, changing the oil or doing the back tyre or something like that. So I changed the oil on this once and put Mobile 1 4T in it, and it's not 1040 in it, and it's not used any since I changed it. A couple of other things. See, well, I got that Gibby tank bag on it, and I got that huge Gibby box on it as well, and I bought a rack. There was a grab handle that went here, and I bought this rack, and again, for the life of me, I can't remember who manufactured that, but the bloody thing was 140 bucks. It was expensive. You know, so that's what it is. This was Honda's answer to the Speed War, right? Fastest production bike you can get in 97, I think. And I don't know how fast, 176. So I haven't had that fast. I've had it to 160. You know, and it was pretty stable at that point. But I'm getting older now, so I don't really kind of rag it around as much. You know, this particular model, I don't think that's the stock screen, or that may be. And that's one thing on these. There's not a lot of wind protection from the screen, and really it's pretty small, right? So there's really trying to get some speed up. There's nowhere to go to hide behind that thing. It also has Heli Bars on it. So the person who had it before me rose it up by about an inch, and I'm actually going to try and rise it up a little bit more because... I've got a screwed up shoulder, and this really gets my shoulder going when I ride it a lot of miles. So I did actually put some things to drop the foot pegs tiny bit further back, tiny bit further down. And like I said, I've got some other risers. I've got these other risers, and I need to put them on. The throttle cables might be too short, and the clutch hose might be too short. I've got these risers here from somewhere or other, I can't remember. But if that's the case, I believe that the throttle cables from the carbureted version are an inch longer, and they fit, so might be going down that path, but we'll have to see. It is particularly dirty at the moment. I apologise for that. It's also got some Delcovic mufflers on it, which make a really nice noise. Yeah, so we've got these digital gauges. Digital gauges are funny. I mean, they do the job, right? But it's really strange because you've got the great big one there for the speedo, right? rev counter, and then you've got all the, you know, the information with, you know, engine temperature and a clock and fuel level and mileage and trip and stuff, and it's all crammed in into this tiny one, and there's just like speed in big letters. So that seems a bit odd. I also put these foam things on. I didn't like the Honda grips, so I just put these foam, it's a piece of foam, they're called something, you can find them on the internet, but they just slip on. And then somebody sent me some bar end weights for nothing, and I can't remember how or why. But anyway, let's fire this bad boy up. Very responsive engine. Very responsive engine from the fuel injection. Again, the carbureted one's the same way, probably, I don't really know. You know, 6-speed transmission, hydraulic clutch, just train drive, conventional forks. You know, so you know, again, it was, you know, nice touches, span adjustable levers, you know, which is always handy. You know, mirrors are pretty good at checking on your elbows. I mean, they come out quite a way, but they're still, you still don't see, you know, you only see really this half of what's going on behind you. You know, headlight's good on it. It's got an upper and a lower headlight, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it has. Yeah, never really looked. Yeah, very sleek looking, very aerodynamic. So it's a nice bike. It's a really nice looking bike, and it's a nice bike to ride. So let's talk about riding it. I was surprised how well it handled, and it's got Pirelli Angel GTs on it, which is a tyre I would never have considered putting on a motorcycle. I would have gone for Michelin radials, but then when I got this, the tyres had only got about 1,200 miles on them, and it handled. It's a bit long wheelbase, so it's pretty slow turning. It's certainly no GSXR. You know, 18-inch front, 18-inch rear, but I was surprised how well it did handle. And then I chewed through the back tyre pretty quickly. So the back tyre ended up getting about 5,500 miles out of it. The front I didn't change. I'll get another 1,000 out of that, but it's beginning to tuck in a little bit. So the front tyre's done. So yeah, so it's a very sporty, riding position. Motor is incredibly smooth. Because of all these counter shafts and the fuel injection's well set up. It's fast. You can obviously, you wind it up, it'll do like 80, 90 in second gear. Red lines at like just about 11,000 there. You know, it's not as torquey at the bottom. You have to get it to about 3,000 or 4,000 RPM when it starts to really move. It's not as torquey as I thought it would be. I'll say this, said it before, but my FGA 12 had more torque at the bottom, I felt. But even still, it rides very nice. It rides very nice. I think the person who put a new chain of sprockets on, I think they said they put a bigger sprocket on the front, the 1 tooth bigger, so it's slightly over geared. And it has got long gearing. I say I've had this up to 160, and I can't remember how many RPM it was doing. But it is quite tall geared. So it's a pleasant bike to ride, right? It's like I said, a bit of a sporty riding position. I'm 5'10" or 5'9.5", and I'm going to try and rise it up a little bit at the front. I was surprised that it's not that good on gas. Typically on my commute, which is 90 miles each way, bit of highway, bit of back roads. Look, I understand it's a Blackbird, so you tend to give it a bit of thrash. A bit of thrash, ooh. But it's doing 36, 37, 38 to the gallon. And bearing in mind, I can get 55 out of that thing with carburetors on it, and it's heavier than the Blackbird. I guess the Blackbird's 550 pounds, something like that. I was just surprised because it's got a 5-gallon tank, so you're basically looking at going easy on the throttle. You're basically looking at 200 miles a tank full, which isn't a lot, because go easy on the throttle on that and you can get almost 400. So that's a bit of a disappointment that it drinks the gas. But I guess that's what you sacrifice for performance. It's about 140 horsepower. So again, not the fastest turning motorcycle, but still, you know, in England, you know, A roads, this would be a great A road motorcycle. It's not quite a canyon carver, but but you know, it does pretty good. But you know, so I like riding it. Like I said, the riding position messes my shoulder a little bit, so I'm going to try and change that. But I really no complaints. I mean, it's super smooth, and everybody I know who've ridden it have really liked it. However, However, last year I did ride a friend of mine, David, who's got a ZX1000 Ninja, the sports touring one, 2016, and I was riding this, and I jumped onto that, and it immediately put this thing out of date. I mean, the Ninja was lighter. It wasn't more powerful or more responsive really on the engine, but it was lighter. The suspension was just tighter all over. It turned quicker. You know, getting back on this, you just think, ooh, it's a bit of a dinosaur, you know. And so, I mean, people who've had these love them. People who've got them love them, and I understand that. And there's probably suspension mods you can make. I believe putting a shim above the back shock or something like that to lift it up. There was something I read somewhere. There's some mods, but I was just surprised how much better that Ninja was. You know, more comfy riding position. It's just a very good bike. If you get a chance to ride one of them or buy one, I would do, because they really are an excellent motorcycle. These are a good bike too. I mean, they're kind of a bit of classic status, because, you know, start making them in 03, not around. But expect to pay about $5,000 for a good one. They're in black, they're in silver. I'm not sure what other colours they did. Very sleek looking, very sleek bodywork. You know, so yeah, riding it very smooth, very fast. You know, easily cruise along at 100, 110 or more. Hope I haven't just perjured myself, but you know, we did a high speed. We're in a bike club called the Vipers, and we did a high speed Viper tour about a year ago, and did 2,500 miles or 2,000 miles in 4 days. And it was this performed really well. Like I said, everybody who rode it liked it. It makes a brilliant noise. It really does. When you wind this thing up, it screams. You know, so yeah, I mean, recommended, sure. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I think, like I said, I think I could sharpen up the suspension on it, no doubt, if I wanted to. And but the MP, it's got a K&N filter in it. I bought a K&N filter in it. I went to change the filter, opened it up, and it's got a K&N filter in it. So it was a bit, you know. So yeah, you wouldn't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed one of them. But I think they just, I whisper it, but there's better things out there. I think it just depends what you want in a motorcycle. But it is a nice looking motorcycle. Like I said, it's got some sort of classic status. There's a fairly active owners group on the internet. And with this big box and the tank bag, I was able to get everything in there for 4 days of messing around and riding and drinking and playing cards and all that sort of shit. So anyway, yeah, I mean, would I recommend one? Yeah. Am I going to keep this? I don't know. If there's a bike I'm going to sell, it may well be this one. I don't know. The one thing I'd like to do for it is get a Corbin seat. But I'm simply not prepared to pay $600, $700 for a freaking seat. So I did keep my eye out on the internet, and one did show up with the guy who wanted $400, and I wasn't prepared to pay that either, because it's just a seat, man. It can't be like $600-700. So that's what I would like. If I was going to keep it, I say get the risers on and do a seat on it. But yeah, good bike. It's a good bike, you know. So yeah, okay. Oh, my breakfast is just about ready, because it's Father's Day. That means it's all about me. So actually, it's funny, because I'm going to go and see the new Top Gun movie, and have a look at some of the relics. Some of the relics in the garage. There's the Top Gun bike, the GPZ 900R in English, or the ZX 900 in American. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, so yeah, 2002 Honda Blackbird. Yeah, good bike, sporty riding position, not great on gas, handles okay, pretty good, brakes are decent, rideable, be reliable. I think rectify regulator problems is what I've heard. But other than that, no, that's about it. Just a good bike, and I am going to go and eat my bacon and eggs. All right, see ya.